So, are you ready? Are you ready to make this year the year it all changes? If you feel like you've been running in place, stuck on the same treadmill, well, you've come to the right place. We're going to build a plan together to make sure this next year looks nothing like the last one.
And let's just start by facing this powerful, maybe even a little uncomfortable idea head on. Over the next decade, most people won't live 10 years. They'll live 1 year, 10 times. Wow. That's the trap, right? The trap of just coasting, of letting our old habits run the show. And today, we're going to figure out how to break out of that loop for good. And here's why that matters so much. Because standing still, it's not neutral. It's not a safe position. It's actually incredibly expensive. While you're staying the same, the world is moving, opportunities are passing by, and time, well, time is collecting compound interest on all the lessons you're not learning.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start with the diagnosis. Because before we can grow, before we can build anything new, we have to get really honest about the incredibly high price we pay for standing still.
I mean, just look at the difference here, side by side. On one hand, you've got survival mode. That's just autopilot, right? Same old habits, same excuses, same patterns, and no surprise, the same results. But then you have growth. And growth is intentional. It's about deliberate improvement, new disciplines, learning new skills, all of which create completely new outcomes. You see, survival is just drifting. Growth is grabbing the wheel and steering. And you know, the real, true cost of standing still, it doesn't always show up on today's bank statement. No, it shows up much, much later. And it has a name: regret. And we're not just talking about missed promotions or income. We're talking about the deep regret for the chances you didn't take, the skills you never bothered to learn, and the important conversations you were too afraid to have.
So how in the world do we fight this? How do we build a life that avoids that regret? Well, we do it with a plan. A plan built on 3 core pillars. And we have to start with the absolute foundation. Pillar number 1, the inner world. Because all meaningful, lasting change, it has to start from the inside out.
Think of your inner world as the control room for your entire life. And that control room runs on 4 key components that we have to master: our discipline, our focus, our energy, and of course, our mindset.
So let's start with a big one: discipline. Now, a lot of us hear that word and we think punishment or restriction or no fun, but that's the wrong way to look at it. A much better way to see discipline is as the bridge. It's the structure that literally connects the thing you want over here with the thing you actually get over here. It connects desire to result.
Okay, next up is focus. And I love this analogy. Think about your attention, your effort, as a form of energy. You take a simple light bulb, right? It uses energy to cast this wide, diffused light that, it barely lights up the room. But then you take a laser. It might use the same amount of energy, but it concentrates it, it focuses it into a single point, and it can cut right through steel. The only difference is focus. That's the incredible power we unlock when we stop scattering our efforts and start concentrating our action. And of course, none of this works if you're running on empty. I mean, your body is literally the engine that drives your dreams. You just can't build a strong, powerful year on a weak, tired body. It's impossible. That physical energy, which comes from sleep, good nutrition, and movement, that's the raw fuel for every single one of your ambitions.
All right, so once we get our inner world in order, we've got to build the right framework around it. That brings us to pillar 2, the outer world. This is all about the environment and the structures that will either support your growth or totally sabotage it.
And this external framework, it's really made up of 3 critical things: the environment you put yourself in, your financial knowledge, and the actual skills you bring to the table. Each one of these shapes what's possible for you.
I mean, think about your environment for a second. It's so true that you will rise or fall to the level of your surroundings. If you're in a weak environment, one with low standards and negative chatter, it will slowly, quietly convince you that average is perfectly fine. It'll kill your ambition, and you might not even notice it's happening.
Next up, money. We love to think about money in terms of our hopes and dreams, right? But here's the honest truth. Money is just a mirror. It doesn't care about your hopes. It doesn't reflect what you wish for. It reflects your actual habits, your real discipline, and your day-to-day priorities with brutal honesty.
And this leads us to a really crucial truth about how the world works. The marketplace, your job, your clients, they don't respond to what you need. They respond to the value you bring. And that's why your skill is the great divider. If you want to get more, you have to become more valuable. And that only happens through learning and refining your skills day in and day out.
Okay, so we've got the foundation and the framework. Now for the final piece, the engine that drives long-term sustainable change. This is Pillar 3, the system. This is what turns a one-time good intention into a whole new way of life.
And this engine has 3 essential components that make it run. First, a crystal clear vision of where you're going. Second, the daily habits that'll actually move you there. And third, the accountability that makes sure you don't quit when things get tough.
And this brings us to a huge, game-changing distinction. It's so easy to set big, exciting goals. But here's the secret. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Your goal is the destination, sure, but your daily systems, your habits and routines, that's the road you're actually building, piece by piece, to get there.
So think of it this way. A written vision, that's your compass. When you get lost or distracted, you just look at it, and it points you back to your true north. It makes decisions simple. And accountability? Well, that's the bridge between saying you'll do something and actually getting it done. It's what turns a good intention into a real achievement.
So let's pull all this together into a simple, actionable plan. Because here's the thing, real change doesn't wait for a special date on the calendar. Your next year, your year of intentional growth, it starts right now, today. So where do you start? Does this all feel like too much? It shouldn't. You start with just one small, accountable step. Look, transformation isn't some massive, dramatic overhaul on day one. It's the relentless, quiet consistency of one good choice repeated every single day. That's what builds unstoppable momentum.
So I'm going to ask you directly, forget everything else for a minute. What is the one discipline, if you actually practiced it every single day, that would change absolutely everything for you this year? Seriously, think about it. What is that one thing? Because the clock is running. It's running for all of us right now. The only question is, what is it running towards? Your job, your only job, starting today, is to make damn sure it's running towards something worthwhile.